Hey everyone, so today I'm going to talk to you about my first breast augmentation and the problems I had, what implant sizes I've currently got in, and what size I was before my operation and after my operation. So the reason I got my boobs done was not necessarily for my career. I mean, it hasn't exactly hindered my career. I mean, I suppose it has helped in some ways, but the main reason I got them done was for myself. I used to have naturally big boobs and I lost a little bit of weight, so they completely disappeared. I went from about a 34F, 34 era F, down to kind of a deflated 32C, 32D. I did used to still wear 34D bras, but I did used to pad them out on photo shoots. So I thought, it was really getting me down. And obviously it didn't help having kind of body dysmorphia. It wasn't helping me at all mentally, so the best thing to do was for me to pay to have them done. So I went for my consultation, and originally I wanted about 500cc implants. At the time I didn't necessarily want the fake look, but I mean, to me the fake look is where they just look stuck on, and I don't think I translated what I wanted that well to the surgeon, and the surgeon said the maximum he could fit into my chest was 450cc. I thought that's fine, they know what they're on about and they do it all the time and all that kind of thing, so I went along with that. That was fine. And then they said I had one slightly bigger than the other. That was mainly because I was in retail before I started modelling, and I was still kind of in retail during the first year, just to kind of keep things going, keep the money coming in, all that kind of thing. So I had more muscle on one side of my chest than I did on the other from constantly lifting things with one arm. Which I told the surgeon and everything like that, and he said it was still best to go ahead for one bigger than the other. So we were going to go for 450cc in one side and 425 in the other. Then when the assistant came round to ordering them, they didn't have a 450 and a 425. After 400, I think they jumped in gaps of 50cc, which was too much for the difference in my chest. So we ended up with a 410cc and a 380cc. So I had 30cc difference in the two implants, which wasn't a massive drama. I didn't feel like I needed a difference in the implants because my muscle was going to level out not long after. And I wasn't happy with how I'd been downsized again, because originally I wanted 500. We ended up with 450, then we ended up with 450, 425, and then we ended up with 410 and 380. So with the state of mind I was in, I wasn't happy. I just wanted to get them done, feel better about myself, and I thought there won't be that much of a difference, it'll be fine. And I'm not happy with them at all, but I'll get around to that later. So we set the surgery date, 6th of June 2013, and I did it all under local anaesthetic. I was awake for the entire procedure. So I will do a local versus general at some point in time with the differences and all that kind of thing. So went up and they took me into the surgery room, laid me down, cleaned the area, and then there was 3 different injections to numb the area. There was the smaller needle for the incision line. There was a slightly bigger needle for the area around the incision, and that went slightly up into the chest. And then there was a bigger needle that went up to the top of my chest, where the top of the implant would be, and that numbed all the way down the insides and around where the implant would be. Then they covered me up with the little gown with the hole in the front, and they put the screen up. And then obviously you started cutting into my incision line and using the cortisone tool to do whatever they do with that. So you can smell kind of, it's not so much burning meat, it's just kind of like a singeing smell. It's not overpowering or anything like that, it's just a little bit strange. Under local, you can still feel everything, you just don't necessarily feel the pain, although the local anaesthetic does wear off. So during the procedure, they do need to keep topping that up so that you can't feel things. But I was getting very sore, I was getting quite uncomfortable, as he was kind of cutting through, I believe it would be the nerves. I was getting kind of like a little electric flicks, like a little electric shocks, it felt like. Which it didn't bother us too much, again it was fine. And he made the pocket in the first side, which was my left side. And then he said, which side is the bigger implant going in? I don't know if he was saying it as a joke. I don't think it was a joke, I'm not sure. And obviously I had to say it, the left side is the one that the bigger implant is supposed to be going in. So we went with that. And when the implant first goes in, it's just a pull and a bit of pressure. I mean, they say it's like giving birth in reverse, but I've never had children, so I don't know what that's like. So they pushed it in, and it just feels like someone's sitting on your chest, or that there's something pushing down on you. It's not necessarily hard to breathe, but it does feel very strange. He then, stitched me up on that side, and then repeated the procedure on the right side. When I first sat up, I thought, oh my god, they're amazing, they're huge, I love them. Obviously they were quite swollen, so I knew they weren't going to stay that big, but I kind of hoped. Anyways, it got me all kind of dressed and all the bandages on and all that kind of thing. I went into the recovery room, which was just next door to the surgery room. Sat in there, had my cup of coffee, slice of toast, got my clothes on, and I was away really, really quickly. My surgery itself, like the time I was in surgery, was about 2.5 hours. General anaesthetic procedures generally take a lot less time than that. But with being under local, you've got to kind of take more time, be more careful with the patient obviously being awake. So that was fine, got home, happy, no problem. And then 2 weeks down the line, it used dissolvable stitches. And one of my dissolvable stitches had dissolved before it was supposed to. And my skin hadn't fully knitted together. So when it dissolved, my scar line burst open. Massive shock. I was like, oh my god, what do I do? Try to get it sorted. And within 24 to 48 hours, I had an infection. So I had to leave the scar line open because of the infection. And I had to just take course upon course of antibiotics to try and get rid of that infection and try and keep everything as clean as possible, which I did. And it was okay. After a month, 2 months, the infection had kind of gone and it was okay to stitch me up. So, got stitched up. Within 2 months, it had kind of sealed, but very, very slightly. There was like a very thin layer of skin over the actual hole that had come open. And obviously I went to get a checkup and everything looked okay, but the scar line itself seemed a little dark. So the surgeon was then called in, because you don't always see your surgeon on your appointments afterwards. You see kind of the nurses or the assistants or whatever. So she called the surgeon in to have a look, just to double check. And he thought the best thing to do was to drain the fluid away. He said, generally the body will absorb it itself, but I'll just drain it. Okay, no problem. So, back up into surgery. Lying down on the bed, you've got a cannula, needle, whatever, out, pierce through that weak part of skin into my chest, remove the needle, and then squeeze the fluid out. Which I didn't think that's quite how drains worked, but So he squeezed the fluid out, which burst my scar line even more. So I had to be restitched again, which was brilliant. So restitched, and I had to be restitched 3 or 4 times after that because the wound just was not closing. because it had been kind of left open that long, it began to heal in a circle going down into where the implant was. So eventually the surgeon resorted to folding the skin over on itself to try and take the pressure off where the hole in the skin was. So it pushed my implant up, pushed the skin down, and created a fold under the mammary fold. It created a little fold there, and then stitched it together. So I had 2 rows of stitching on underneath my boob, and it did not get any better. The stitches that I'd folded the skin over to, they tore a little bit, and in general I have a really disgusting scar, which I'm really not happy about. It stops me doing certain types of modelling at the moment because I don't like the look of it, and because I ended up with another infection because of being restitched and restitched and restitched, and the hole still being open and sealing open, I ended up with another infection. Then that cleared up, and eventually the wound did close. It took quite a lot of time, but eventually it closed. Then I noticed that it was quite solid, and it was starting to look a little bit different to my other implant. So I went to get that checked out, and it turns out I've got a capsular contraction, which means that because of the infections and everything like that, my body tried to reject the implant. So the body's reaction to that is to coat the foreign object in scar tissue and try and reject it. So when the scar tissue forms around an implant, it then puts pressure on the implant, and it becomes kind of like a tennis ball or a marble underneath your skin, which I'll show you in a moment. So I'm now over a year down the line from first having my operation. I'm going in tomorrow to get it all fixed with a new surgeon who is absolutely amazing. I can't wait to actually get my surgery over and done with, and then hopefully everything will be fine. He is hopefully putting 560cc in, which should give me the result I actually wanted, because obviously originally I went from a deflated 32C, 32D up to a 30G. I'm now a 30G at the moment. So when I get my new implants, we've worked it out as roughly a 30H to a 28J, depending on where I go and things like that. So it's not going to be easy to buy bras, but I don't necessarily mind because hopefully I'll get the look I'm after. The implants I have are CUI high profile in the 410 and 380, and I will be getting the CUI 560cc in high profile as well. So I'll show you my scar line and the capsular contraction and everything now, but this is, hang on, this is a 32F bra from Lizenza. As you can see where this implant is further away. This is my smaller side, this is my bigger side. That kind of rolls under the skin because it's gone really solid, whereas this one just kind of moves around nicely. It's quite squidgy. This one, not very squidgy at all. So that's the 32F. You get quite a nice projection with the high profile. If you don't want as much projection, you can go for the moderate profile, which you'll still get this kind of curve, but it won't be as far out. So I will show you. Don't worry, I have tape covering my nipples so nobody can get scared. So that's my normal squidgy implant, and that is my solid implant. You can see that there's quite a bit of difference. That one is a lot more defined and a lot more solid. So now I will show you the scar lines. If you can see that, that's my good scar. So my surgeon, my new surgeon, doesn't like that scar, so he's going to remove them both completely and give me new scar lines. And this is my bad scar line. You can actually see where the implant has folded over. Right there, this dip down here. That is my implant overhanging. You can see where he folded it over to stitch it together. He literally folded it like that and stitched it like that to try and get the wound to heal, which didn't work brilliantly. It did cause a lot more problems and obviously a horrendous scar line. But I'll be getting that all fixed tomorrow, thankfully. If you have any more questions or anything like that on my surgery, or you need any advice or anything like that, or if you want to see other pictures of this surgery at the moment, you can go on to any of my modelling profiles and you'll be able to see them on there. Well, I'll put the links below to those. Once I've had my surgery done, I'll probably do a little video log within the first couple of days. I'll just do kind of like a weekly one, a weekly video to keep you updated so you can see how it's all going. But I hope this has helped a few people. I know that when I was looking, when I first wanted to get them done, I was looking for who had what size implants, complications and all that kind of thing. It was really hard to find videos, so I'm hoping this will help someone. With my dimensions, I mean, it was hard to find people with a similar dimension to me. So I'm 5'5", I'm just over 9 stone, 25-inch waist, 30-inch band, well 28 to 30-inch band, and at the moment they're an F to G depending on where I go. If that's the look you're after, minus the capsule contraction, then a 410cc roughly would be the kind of look you'd be going for if you're going from a C or a D. But I would speak to your surgeon thoroughly about that. Do as much research as you can before you get your operation done. So there is nothing worse than having to take a lot of time out of your career, out of your job, having to pay for new implants, or having to go through other proceedings to get your operation fixed or whatever. So make sure you do your research, and if you need any more information from me, I'll put the links below to my Facebook and Twitter and everything like that. You can just tweet me, ask me questions, and I'll do some more videos on this. I will be doing a general versus local anaesthetic video once I've been under the general as well, so I can give you the before, after and all that kind of thing from each one. I personally at the moment prefer being under local than general, but we'll see after tomorrow if that changes. So I hope this has helped someone anyways, and if you want to see any more of my ramblings or anything, then you can click subscribe down below or pop by once in a while and I'll be here. So take care, bye bye.